Hey folks, this is David from the Tatify. Listen, I was on here yesterday and I was telling you about this studio management software that we use here called Tatify Studio Pro. I touched on a few of the highlights yesterday and thought I would just jump right in today and show you kind of like the calendar portion of it. And I'll do this on a day-to-day basis and we'll go through different modules. But if you don't know anything or if you haven't read anything about Tatify Studio Pro, it's a tattoo and piercing management software, and it's full featured. Like it's not just booking calendar, it's not just, automated responses or whatnot. This is a full featured studio management, business management software that was designed specifically for our industry with financial dashboards, financial trends in general, booking calendars, client like CRM management. There's a ton of features in this application, and there's a couple that I'll show right here on screen, and you can look through them. But what we're going to go over today and what I'm going to show you once we log in is just the calendar portion, right? This and the session timer are very important to our business. We know that. The session timer is unique to Tatify. Like I've used a lot of the cloud-based booking softwares that are out now, and there are some good ones out there, like I mentioned yesterday. But they do fall short, and this is one of the things where they fall short on is tracking time to money. And with Tatify Studio Pro, it's easy; it does it for you. So, without further ado, let's just get in. Quick video. I'll show you the calendar. I kind of show you the session timer, and then we'll open it up for any questions on this video. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And once you log in, you'll be presented with your studio, whatever that is. Can't remember if I typed that in right. I didn't. All right, let's try it again. That should be it. So it takes you back to the screen, right, where you can get features and contact sales and get support, but it has your go-to dashboard. That's really your studio, right? That's your entry point. That's your gateway. So we're going to open the gate. First thing you're going to see is going to jump right to the calendar. So the one good thing about Tatify is that you can configure it in any way that you want to. I have mine configured to open the calendar directly, and if you notice this red line right here, it jumped to the current time frame. So it's not something that you have to scroll back and forth to see. Whatever that time frame is, it's going to jump right to it. And these are fictitious appointments that I've created for this, just to show you some different aspects of this program. Again, Tatify Pro has an enhanced calendar. It's not just generic. So the first thing you're going to notice is color coding, right? It's very simple. This is all configurable. You can do this through your employee profiles. They can configure whatever color they want to show on the calendar, mostly if you have several. And that leads me into the split view. The split view is really awesome. So we have several here. I'll choose just a few, and you can see that it splits our calendars. And you can see that, in this instance right here, she has these couple of days blocked off for PTO or whatnot. And then, of course, her calendars that she hasn't confirmed yet. And so the way that it works, let me go back to just my calendar. The way that it works is if they book online through your public, booking link, which could be on your website, your social media, whatever that may be, you'll see that it says online. So first thing you notice is that when you open up your calendar, you can see what was booked online, or what appointments have been booked over the phone. You see Abigail Webb was booked over the phone. Cole was booked on the web, and it tells me that right here. I've already ran through and just practiced a little on here to show you kind of what things are. So these are grayed out because I've already checked these guys out. But as you can see right here in Misty, I've already confirmed it. So there's several steps that you have to take, right? And it all forms into the end goal. In this case, it's backed by a lot of back-end functions. So once this comes through, if they book online, it doesn't confirm the appointment. It tells them that, hey, your request has been sent. You'll get a text and an email once that booking appointment has been confirmed by your artist. So whatever artist that they've chosen online will get, this message right here. And the first thing that you do is, if you're good with the appointment, is you confirm it. And what that does is it tells the system and your client, hey, I've accepted the appointment. That time's free for me, and we're good to go. Secondly, when that client comes in, if it's the day before your appointment, the day of your appointment, they come in to fill out their paperwork. If they're an existing client, there's not much for them to do but check in. If they're a new client and you've put them in here, if they've booked on the web, if they've booked from your site or from your social media, it prompts them to go ahead and acknowledge a consent form and your SMS opt-in, opt-out choices. So in here, we can already see that she's confirmed. It tells us exactly what it is. It's with me. It's a large tattoo. These are based off of services that you set up in your studio. And then contact information. It tells you design, placement, whatever notes that they've entered in or that you've entered in. And here, you can resend confirmation, you can reschedule. These are all basic functions, but this is something, that's pretty neat, I think. So we're going to go ahead and check her in like she was here. You'll see down here it says appointment checked in, which means now she's in here. She's filled out all her paperwork. She's good to go. She's just waiting for whatever time that artist is ready. If the artist is ready for her to come back, either the front desk person or the artist at their station will click start session. What that does is starts the session clock counting down that time to money. And I'll show you that here in a minute. So far we've acknowledged that, she's booked online. We've confirmed her appointment. She's came in. We're saying, okay, she's here. We've checked her in. She's good to go. And now we started her session. Depending on how long I quoted her in the initial setup or whatever service she chose, right? Because that can be predefined as well. I know that for a large tattoo, that's 4 hours. And for 4 hours, that's what we're sitting for initially. So the clock, when it's counting down, gets to that 4 hour mark. Excuse me. It's going to prompt you, hey, your session is at its mark. Do you want to keep going or do you want to check out? And there are two options, obviously. You can continue to go if you and your client have agreed to do that, or, we can call it quits. We're done for today. These are your 4 hours. Let's get you checked out. So let me show you what the session timer does. This is really cool. So you saw I checked her in. I started a session timer. If I go up here to session timer, you can see what it's doing. So it's telling me who's it for, when I started, how many hours I quoted, and it's counting down, turning that time into money. And you see it real time, right? So no matter if you have one artist or 50 artists, you're going to see all the session timers in here if that's the way that you want to have go. Now, you don't have to do the session timer. It's not a required function. I like it because I like automation. I like anything that makes my life easy so that I can focus on the art that I'm creating. So let's go back to the calendar. And we're seeing Misty, and let's just say we're at the end of our 4 hours, right? So she's ready to go. She don't want to continue. We've gotten and gone as far as we can. We're going to check her out. And now what it's doing is it's looking at the session timer. It's looking at your studio's hourly rate, and it's giving you a number. It's brilliant. If this was 4 hours, obviously, and your rate is $100 an hour, this would say 4 hours. $400. And if you have tax that's associated to it that you configure in the back end, you're going to see this tax here and you're going to see a total here. Then you got your checkout buttons. So just from this, you can see how Tatify streamlines that entire process, cuts out tons of back end work, and makes it so much easier, right? So we're just going to get rid of this, go back in here, and just say I made a mistake. Well, I can undo the checkout. I can put her back in the queue, and now she's ready to go. For whatever reason, under calendar config, you can tell the system you want to start at a certain day. You want to start, in a week's view, what your calendar resolution is. Line spacing, which is, how wide that you want your calendar columns to look. And then you can choose how you want it to start off. Do you want to start off with, a certain artist or just generic? So current time, which is that red line I was telling you about. And then, you go from there and you're done. Boom. If you want to block off time, say for, excuse me, as a cold's get me, for a vacation, or say you have a doctor's appointment, you can click on book block time and tell it if you want to do specific hours or if you want to do like a full day. You can basically just configure it any way that you want to do. Over here, everywhere you see a blue dot is all the days that you have appointments scheduled. You can see that our month is pretty busy. And then this is just a quick view of what today looks like. On top of all this, you actually get text messaging showing you when somebody's booked or if it's 2 hours out. You get daily, if you want, you can turn that notification on. I do at 11 a.m. I get a text with today's list of appointments. Some people may not like that. I like it because it allows me to manage my day a little bit better. So, right off the top, when I tell you that Tatify Studio Pro helps you streamline your business, I just saved hours of back end management from right here. The other part of that is CRM, the client management. Everything's at a click, a click away. There are several ways that you can look here. You can look at the grid view or, the list view. I like either. It just depends on what I'm trying to do. But you can get two different views. You can actually see and edit the client. Here you can see where you can choose to photo the client. A lot of times I remember the tattoo. I don't remember the client's face. But you can come down through here and fill out different things. The gender obviously is not a necessity field. The last visit, customer since, all that gets filled out. It's all real time. Here, if you click on here, you get a different view. You get the last visited date. You get number of cancellations, their birthday. If you want to celebrate specifically for their birthday, you want to send them some special deal, whatnot. How much money they've spent. If they've opted in or out of the SMS. You can track their services, right? Their piercings, whatever your services may be. You can add specific notes, and then you can tell that note that you want it to pop up when that client is checked in for the next time. It could be, hey, this client has an allergy that you need to be aware of. Accepted or they agreed to the consent online. It's going to show here. We have something in our studio where they can self-check in, and it requires them to acknowledge the consent every time. It will show it dated. Every time they come in, every time they acknowledge that consent form, it dates it. Brilliant. And then obviously the SMS opt-in, opt-out, which is required. So, here we can scan in a waiver. If they filled it out, we can scan it in, attach it to their profile. Typical export and import if you want to import your client list from another application, say Vigero or booked in or whatnot, you can do that through CSV imports. You can do selective import, meaning that you only want to bring in certain functions like last visit or maybe their contact. You don't have to bring in the whole data. You can select which data you want to update and then add new client. Up here, just some quick stats. You can turn these off and on if you want. Just how many new clients you have, frequency count, that type of thing. So a lot of information. Some of it you may not want to use, but, I think it's all valuable, mostly, from a studio management standpoint. So I think that's it for today. Again, I just wanted to give you an overview of the calendar and the brief touch on the CRM for Tatify Studio Pro. I do suggest that you go out and take a look at it, maybe do the 7-day trial. So it's www.tatifystudio.com. Click on the 7-day trial. See ya.